The following is a production of the Department of Broadcasting at Western Illinois University.
We've learned more details about a weekend shooting. We'll tell you where it happened and what police are telling us so far. Plus, pain at the pump no more. If you haven't noticed already, the prices have been going down. Where you can find the cheapest gas? Ahead. And this evening is the last presidential debate before the big election. We'll tell you what issues the candidates will be addressing coming up.
Live at 4 begins now with Victoria Hansen, Jessica Adusi, plus your local weather with Bobby Stokel and sports with Nico Heflinger. This is your WIU TV3 newscast.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. I'm Jessica Adusi.
And I'm Victoria Hansen. Our top story comes out of Macomb, where a man is recovering after being shot on the 500 block of Murray Street over the weekend.
Our NEWS3 crew snapped this picture of the scene. Police say they responded to the home after being called out about a fight early Sunday morning. Officers say they found a 20-year-old man shot in the hip. He was taken to McDonough District Hospital and later released. The victim and another witness at the home said a man in a hooded sweatshirt with a bandana covering his face came through the back door and shot the victim. The shooter then fled the home. Macomb police say they are still investigating the shooting and an earlier incident at that home Saturday evening. While investigating the incident, investigators learned that a fight involving the victim occurred at the residence earlier in the evening. Robert D. Anderson, 21, was arrested on charges of mob action and disorderly conduct. Brandon Terry, 22, was also arrested on charges of mob action and disorderly conduct. Jorge Vargas, 22, was arrested on obstructing justice, and the three apprehended are not Western Illinois students. Anyone with information regarding this incident is asked to contact the Macomb Police Department or submit tips anonymously to crimes by texting their message to 274-637.
And early Friday morning, what began as a traffic stop on Highway 67 escalated into much more. The McDonough County Sheriff's Office says its canine unit conducted a traffic stop based on improper lane usage. The investigation led to Kenzo, the Sheriff's Office canine, indicating the presence of drugs within the car. Deputies say they seized 5.1 grams of heroin from Tapscott's mouth and pants. Tapscott and Carr both have been charged with the possession of a controlled substance with the intent to deliver and possession of a controlled substance. Tapscott was also charged with attempted obstructing justice. And Thursday marked the 23rd annual Take Back the Night rally, and a Macomb resident showed me how she contributed. Several hundred people came to the 23rd annual rally Take Back the Night last Thursday. The rally was moved to indoors because of the weather, but the message remained the same. Speak up, speak out, and speak now. The event is hosted to end power-based interpersonal violence, and Robin Hyman, a Macomb resident, crafts walking sticks for the event.
It takes about 2 hours. First I have to find them. I usually go to the river and use riverwood because the bark's already off. And then sanding them and painting them and then writing on them and protecting them after that. About 2 hours total. I've been making walking sticks for about 8 years, but for this event, this will be my second year. Events like this are important because it lets students and community members know that there's a place for them to turn to, so they don't have to suffer in silence. There's way too many victims of sexual assault and domestic violence that don't know that we have resources. We have a 24-hour hotline. The university has a counseling center, and the resources are free to everyone and available. And so that's why events like this are important.
Well, it's always great to see people support the cause.
It's that time of year to get your resumes and dress clothes out and ready to impress your future employers. Western Illinois University will host its annual career fair Tuesday, October 13th in the University Grand Ballroom from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is for everyone who is looking for employment and internship opportunities. This event is free to WIU students, alumni, as well as the public. There will be more than 65 companies recruiting for both full-time employment and for internships. Students from all majors are more than welcome to attend. In Phi Alpha Delta, the pre-law organization on campus is organizing a pie smash called Pie Your Professor. to help pay for their trip to the Phi Alpha Delta Pre-Law National Conference in Washington, D.C. in November. When people think October, they usually think Halloween or the changing of the leaves. Live at 4's Savannah Evans gives us another thing to think about during the month of October.
There are millions of animals in shelters all across the nation. That's why it's important we acknowledge that October is National Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. The ASPCA encourages people to give the loving animals at your local animal shelter a chance rather than going to a breeder or puppy mill. McDonough County Animal Shelter's Assistant Animal Control Officer, Laura Taylor, couldn't agree more.
There are numerous success stories where the best pet a family has ever owned came from a shelter, and these animals don't always come from the best circumstances. So we just need someone to provide them with love and understanding.
Many dogs at shelters are already housebroken or trained. Unfortunately, many people assume if an animal is in a shelter, there is something wrong with it. This is simply not true. Many of these animals are in shelters because their owners were neglectful, couldn't take care of them, maybe moved away, or were even abusive. Keep in mind that these animals are terrified to be in this new environment, so don't be alarmed if they're a bit noisy.
Although it's National Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, that doesn't mean that the kitties don't need a home too.
Cats do have a month dedicated to them as well. June is National Adopt a Shelter Cat Month, but that doesn't mean you have to wait until then. According to the ASPCA, 5 to 7 million animals enter shelters each year, and 3 to 4 million are euthanized. 60% are dogs, and 70% are cats. So if you're looking to add a member to your family, first check your local animal shelter. You may just be able to save a life. For Live at 4, I'm Savannah Evans.
Thanks, Savannah. Our McDonough County Animal Shelter is located right off Highway 67, just north of the WIU campus.
And 2 fallen Western Illinois University alumni were honored for their military service with the creation of the Fallen Soldiers Scholarship Fund and a fundraising 5K run/walk. The WIU Foundation created the fund to honor Captain Derek Dabugai, who was killed in 2007 in Iraq, and Lieutenant Colonel Robert F. Baldwin, who was killed in 2010 in Afghanistan. This fund was a great way of honoring their sacrifices. They were 2 great soldiers and leaders to the ROTC participants who successfully completed the program, and then they lost their lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. Western Illinois University Arts Performing Society, along with the Forum and West Pierce Liquors, hosted their 4th annual Beer Fest this past Saturday. The Beer Fest offered more than 70 different beer tastings, including special release beers. The brews were organized on 15 different tables based on where the beers originated. There were beers for every palate. One of the main ideas behind Beer Fest was to have a large variety of beers to bring in a large variety of people, potentially resulting in more money for charity. And a rainy weekend gave way to a beautiful day on Sunday, but what weather is in store for later this evening? Bobby?
Thanks, Victoria. Well, looks like it's pretty green out there right now. No, but it is rainy outside. Looks like about 70 degrees right now. We did reach a high of about 76 today with some thunderstorms that we had this morning. So it's been stormy about all day. We've had some high winds, about 7 degrees from the south. That's where we're getting our warm temperatures, but we're getting gusts at around 18 miles per hour. And we'll be seeing those go through tonight as the showers will continue, but be a little bit spotty. Here's our current surface. As you can see, we have a stable front and a lot of precipitation. There we go. All right. And as I was saying, we have this stable front and precipitation all throughout the Midwest here. And then as we move into tomorrow, a lot of this will push up, out and away, and we'll continue to see a little bit of precipitation just for that. But we will see different temperatures after the rest of our news.
Around a 300% increase of participating dads showed up to the Dad's Weekend Dinner on Friday night. An event that usually occurs during spring semester changed to October. With the change, the dinner was moved to Friday. Moving the event allowed IHC to team up with Beer Fest and Macomb Haunted Tours for the very first time. Lots of excitement concluded the weekend with a father's brunch in the 10th annual golf tournament. And a funky group of Egyptian mummies will invade the Forum in downtown Macomb Friday, November 2nd, as the band Here Comes the Mummies, Here Comes the Mummies bills itself as a 4,000-year-old band. The group, which formed in 2000, has performed in both small venues and at large events such as the Super Bowl. Tickets are available at the Hainline Theater box office. Admission is $15 for the public and $10 for WIU employees or senior citizens. WIU students are admitted free with a valid ID.
And be on the lookout November 7th for the Go West buses to be filled with tons of donated canned foods. Stuff the Bus will begin its rounds October 22nd to October 25th. There will be donation boxes appearing around campus at different residence halls. Non-perishable items are under $1, and that's all we need from everyone to make it a very successful event. And drivers are noticing prices at the pump are on their way down. GasBuddy.com is reporting the national average for a gallon of regular at $3.66, but local prices are way under that. Our news crew found prices averaging around $3.41 in Macomb, but at some locations you can find gas 4 cents cheaper at $3.37. The price of gas is falling around the state, averaging about $3.62 for a gallon of regular.
Coming up next, CYA gunman shot and killed a woman on Sunday before turning the gun on himself inside a suburban Milwaukee salon and spa.
We'll have that and more after the break. Democratic candidates Steve Waterworth and John Sullivan appeared in Macomb on Friday. Both candidates spoke in Macomb High School library in front of a group of approximately 40 people, stressing why they should belong in office. Waterworth, who is running for U.S. Congressional District 18, said he would like to see less reliance on foreign oil by using more wind energy and other energy-efficient technologies. Sullivan, Illinois State Senate incumbent, discussed pension reform and higher education.
We are just hours away from the final presidential debate, and the candidates are doing their final prep before going head-to-head at Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. Even though Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney and President Barack Obama will battle it out over foreign policy, look for the presidential candidates to bring discussion back to the economy. The economy is still the top issue for voters, but with troops still in Afghanistan, unrest in the Middle East, and concern about Iran gaining a nuclear weapon capability, foreign policy matters to Americans. Polls have shown more voters trust President Obama to handle foreign policy decisions, but in recent weeks, Mitt Romney has been closing the gap. In a tight race, what happens to be on the debate stage tonight could have a big impact on the presidential race.
A gunman shot and killed 3 women Sunday before turning the gun on himself inside a suburban Milwaukee salon and spa. 4 other women inside the salon were taken to a local hospital. Their wounds are not believed to be life-threatening. Elizabeth Cordonen brings up today on this unfolding investigation. The Brookfield police chief, the suspect's wife, was an employee at the salon.
Is over in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Authorities say this man, 45-year-old Radcliffe Houghton, who's suspected of opening fire at a salon and spa late Sunday morning, is dead.
The only individual we were seeking in this matter has been found, and we believe him to be deceased by self-inflicted gunshot wound. There is no other suspects that we are seeking.
Employees say they noticed the suspect was carrying a firearm when he entered the salon. They told police Houghton started shooting when they asked if he was going to rob them. The ordeal is being investigated as a possible domestic-related incident. The crime scene will remain active until SWAT teams can clear the entire area and ensure there is no further danger. But authorities emphasize the immediate threat is over.
I want to assure the public that all is well, it is safe.
The shooting is not believed to be related to terrorism. President Obama convened a conference call Sunday afternoon with his top aides and members of the FBI and Homeland Security. The White House says investigators in Wisconsin have the full support of the federal government. I'm Elizabeth Cordonen reporting.
According to the Brookfield police chief, the suspect's wife was an employee at the salon and spa. She had recently requested a restraining order against her husband. It's not clear if she was shot. At this time, police say they are still trying to identify all the victims.
Lance Armstrong is losing the 7 cycling titles that made him a legend. The International Cycling Union announced today that Armstrong is being stripped of his Tour de France titles. The decision follows a finding this month by the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. The agency says there's overwhelming evidence Armstrong was involved as a professional cyclist in the doping program. Armstrong has steadfastly maintained his innocence. Also, as a result of the agency finding Armstrong is losing sponsorships by Nike, Anheuser-Busch, and now Oakley.
And coming up after the break, Bobby will have a look at your local forecast.
That and more when we come back.
Welcome back. Looking at our current conditions, it's about 70 degrees right now. Like I said before, we got those south winds moving at 7 miles per hour, and it will cool down slightly as we move into this evening. You'll be seeing some continuous showers, a little bit of spotty showers as we've been seeing today after our thunderstorms, and it'll get even colder overnight. But it won't be as cold as what we've been seeing because of that warm front. You see those warm winds, and they'll actually pick up overnight with gusts actually only around 15 miles per hour. Here's our national satellite radar. Here's that stable front I showed you, and it's pushing up north and into the northeast. And here's our Midwest satellite radar. Here's what we saw this morning as far as thunderstorms and rain, and we will be seeing some from down here pushing up even more throughout the evening. Here's our surface analysis for Tuesday. We'll be seeing some spotty precipitation for tomorrow, moving into Wednesday, as it will be warming up even more as well over the next couple of days. Like I said, we'll be seeing some precipitation, a lot of clouds even on Wednesday. Here are our temperatures, a lot warmer around. Here's that warm front, and that'll eventually push on through out, like I said, over the U.S. temperatures, and very cold though up in the northwest. Here's our almanac for today. About 76 for today, nowhere near either our high or our low for records, and not even more, it's actually warmer than the normal. Here's our 7-day forecast. We'll be seeing warmer as we move in through the week, and it will actually cool off by Friday, and we'll be seeing a clear weekend for the sports that we have coming up here at Western and across the nation.
The Macomb Bombers finished up the regular season. The Leathernecks had another tough game, and a quick look at tonight's Bears game coming up next on Sports. The Macomb Bombers took to Hanson Field Friday night in their season finale against the Quincy Notre Dame Raiders. Coming into the game, the Bombers had dropped 8 straight against the Raiders, all by blowout fashion, losing by at least 35 points. Heading into the highlights now, Bombers led by a strong performance by senior running back Jared Rockhold early on. Bounces this run to the outside, getting tackled within the 5-yard line. He scored on the following play, early lead for the Bombers. Second quarter midfield, Rockhold again, the pitch play. He's going to get it to the outside, take it 45 yards to the house as no one can catch him. Jump to the fourth quarter, Raiders trailing now. And Nick Wyman on the halfback pass finds Zach Vale, makes the leaping grab, and a missed extra point is going to make it 13-all. Stay with the fourth now, Joe McCaughey. He's going to try and get the come-from-behind win. That ball tipped into who else but Jared Rockhold, making plays on offense and defense. He's going to go all the way. Rockhold's 3 touchdowns and 245 all-purpose yards lead the Bombers to the 27-13 victory. Next week, the Illinois 4A playoffs begin, and we will see Raiders-Bombers round 2. The game will be held this Friday at Macomb High School with kickoff set for 7 o'clock. The Leathernecks took on the Indiana State Sycamores this past Friday at Hanson Field. The Leathernecks were looking to become over 500 for the first time since they started the season at 2-0. Jump into the first quarter, Nico Watson trying to get it going after struggling last week. And next possession, Will Lunt going to try and force this one. It's going to get tipped to Larry King, who gets the interception. He's going to run it deep into Leatherneck territory, breaking a tackle. But Charles Chestnut hustles after him, forces the fumble, and Western's able to retain possession. Later on, Richie Dyer on the end around gets a nice block, and he's going to take it in for the first score of the game. Sycamores eventually go up 13-0 now in the third, and that run by the Leathernecks going to bring up 4th down, and they are forced to punt. But that ball on this punt attempt will be muffed by the Sycamores, and David McDaniel recovers it in the end zone for his first career touchdown. Jump to the fourth quarter now, 13-7. Leathernecks trailing, and the same thing is going to happen this time to Western Illinois as this punt is muffed and the Sycamores score another touchdown. Leathernecks lose their second straight game against a ranked opponent, 23-7. After 2 very difficult games, Western sees their schedule ease up a bit down the stretch. Their next 3 games are against teams with losing records in the Missouri Valley Conference, with the next game taking place this Saturday at Missouri State. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense coming off of a sensational game against the Texans last weekend. They were on the road again this week, this time against the St. Louis Rams. Into the highlights now. First quarter, Rodgers, he's going to find Jordy Nelson on the left side of the field. Nelson has 5 touchdowns in the Packers' last 4 games after a slow start. A few minutes later, Rodgers in the red zone once again. This time hits Randall Cobb. Pack go up early, 17-6. And Sam Bradford now pinned back deep in his own territory. He's going to badly underthrow this pass as it is picked off by the rookie Casey Hayward. Packers up 17-6, still fourth quarter now. Pack still rolling. Rodgers gets a Rams player to jump on the free play. He's just going to throw that ball right on the money to Randall Cobb once again. Rodgers and the Packers pick up their second straight victory. And Bears game tonight on Monday night against the Lions. That should be a great one for the Bears.
Yes, it should. Go Bears.
All right, thanks so much, Nico. We'll be back right after this quick break.
Well, that's all the news we have for you today. For Nico Hefflinger, I'm Victoria Hansen.
And for Bobby Sokol, I'm Jessica Ducey. Thanks for watching.